Hello everybody, and thank you for joining me. This is Ciara from Ciara T Designs, and today I have these stunning alcohol ink cards to share with you. So let's jump right in. So as always, I am going to cut down my cardstock. This is a piece of Yupo. I have a really long sheet still left from when I was teaching classes. It's the exact same Yupo Tim Holtz uses in his lineup. It's just that it's larger sheets by the Yupo company. And I'm just going to cut that down to be about 1/4 of an inch smaller than my A2 base, which when scored is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I'm also going to cut a black mat down to be about 1/8 of an inch smaller than my A2 base. You guys know, if you've been with me for a hot minute, I love the border. I love that layered look. I think that it really gives a finished look. But if you don't like it, you could absolutely leave the black cardstock off and just have a really subtle white border going around. The only thing with the black is that I think it helps tie in the sentiment, because the sentiment is black as well. I stamp it in some black ink. So I do think that black matte really kind of helps the sentiment not to be as bold. But again, totally personal preference. As is always, I'm just trying to share some ideas, and then you guys take them and make them your own. And it's super exciting to see what you guys make with my kind of card designs. So we are going to do some alcohol ink blending today. I am going to make 5 panels, though I'm only going to show you 2. And for my ink colors, I have Enchanted, which is pink. This is a pearl. I have Splendor, which is the orange. It's also a pearl. Then I have Sunshine Yellow, Citrus, Bayou, so that's the yellow, green, and blue. And then I have Villainous, which is the purple, who is also a pearl. So I have 3 pearl inks and 3 regular inks. There's no right or wrong here. I just grab the bottles of color that I like. I do find, though, that the pearls tend to move more than the regular inks. I don't know why that is. That could just be me, but I do find that. And of course, I am going to use blending solution, because with the pearls, you have to use blending solution or the mica from the pearl will not stay on the Yupo. If you had just the alcohol inks, you could, of course, skip the blending solution and just use alcohol. I like to use the 99%, but really it's up to you. There's no right or wrong here. I just love alcohol inks, and they make me so happy, and I love to play with them and move them around and just have a blast. So you saw that I'm working in rainbow order, right? But I have the blending solution because I feel like it gives you the best movement and blend, go figure, of the colors. So that is what I tend to do. Again, like I said, do what you want to do here. If you don't enjoy rainbows as much as I do, go in with an ombre of colors you have. Maybe you have 3 or 4 pinks, or, a couple of purples or something. Go in and play with them and give yourself an ombre of a monotone color. That would be really pretty as well. So completely up to you as to what color palette you like to use. It's just that I love vibrant colors. They just make me smile. They bring so much happiness to me, and I create to, share that happiness. So that is kind of what I end up working with. So of course I tend towards the rainbow, but there's no right or wrong. By all means, use whatever color palette speaks to you. It's just a lot of fun to create. And as I said, I did create 5 panels, but I'm going to create them all pretty much the same way. The only exception is there's one panel in there, and you'll see it because it has more of a brown tinge. I opted to add blending solution across the whole panel and then added every color just to see what would happen. So of course, knowing that some of my colors could create brown because they are complementary colors, I went in knowing that, and I'm okay with it. It's the middle one on the top row. You can see how that one has just a little bit of a muddier look to it. That is because, like I said, I added all of the colors onto the thing at the exact same time and just let them move around to see what would happen, just because I thought it would be fun. And I don't dislike it. It's just a completely different look. Now I'm going to splatter on, this is my 99% alcohol. I'm just going to splatter that on to the background. I love the textured look. So I'm going to add also white splatters and black splatters. If you prefer not to add texture like this, you could leave these backgrounds as they were. They were stunning and wispy and really, really pretty. So this is just a personal preference. I like texture. And there's no dimension to these cards. They're going to be very flat. So I tend towards a lot more texture when my projects are really flat as well. If I have a whole bunch of dimension, I tend to add a little less texture. It just seems to depend on how my project is going and how I see it in my head. But for this, I really wanted the backgrounds to be these stunning, bright, vibrant pieces. And then we're going to add something subtle on top of it so that the background still stands out and still is the focal, but you still have a completed project. So for my addition to the card, I brought in the Tim Holtz Vault Wildflowers, and I just picked out the one that kind of looks like a daisy. I mean, that's what it looks like to me. I'm not sure what flower it's actually supposed to be, but that's what it makes me think of. And I cut it out of white glitter cardstock. Now I'm going to cut it out again 5 times. Everything is in 5 because I have 5 cards. I just won't show you every step 5 times. So I'm going to cut it out 5 times. And then this is going to be the only thing on top of my background other than the sentiment, and the sentiment is intended to be small as well so that I can easily share, the background. It's still what's going to catch your eye, but you have a completed card. And now I'm going to choose the thank you sentiment just because I need some thank you cards. But you could easily make these birthday cards. You can make them thinking of you cards. You could make them saying hello cards. They're versatile. You could literally do anything with this design and have it just be a stunning card. So keep that in mind. If thank you is not what you need at the moment, or leave the sentiment off and just don't adhere down the little leaf. And then you could easily change this up with a sentiment later when you know what you actually need in cards. So also a great idea for if you're not totally sure what sentiment you want to add. Sometimes I don't know. I just happen to know that I've made a whole bunch of birthday cards recently and not very many thank yous. So I knew that was something I needed. So I took a thank you sentiment out of my stash. This was just a thinner thank you just because I want it to be subtle. I don't want it to steal the show, so I wanted a smaller sentiment. And then I'm going to cut them down into labels. Of course, Az is going to come help check this out. He's going to supervise, which is great because I probably need it. So he approves of my plan here. He's going to lay on top of some of luckily the backgrounds are completely dry at this point because he's white, so he's kind of a cream color, I guess, but he is a light colored kitty, and he would kind of attract that dye, but they are completely dry at this point. So I'm just going to cut these down into little labels and set them aside, and then we're going to start building the cards, and you'll kind of see what I was thinking when I meant that I wanted the background to be the most eye-drawing part of this project. Hopefully that makes sense. Sometimes I wonder when I talk if you guys understand what the heck I'm trying to say. So hopefully, if you ever have any questions for me, please leave them in the comments. It sometimes takes me a little bit of time to get back to you, but I will always respond. It just depends on how quickly I can get to them. So I'm going to build my cards first. Usually I would build my panel first, have the idea of where I want everything to lay out. But for this, I opted to actually build the card base, mat, and panel first before adding the extra elements on top, because I wanted to be able to visualize where I put my flower and sentiment with the kind of layout. So hopefully that makes sense. Because this is not how I generally do it. Although again, there's no right or wrong. The art police are running around, but they don't matter. Nobody should be telling you how to make your projects. You make them in a way that makes you happy, and that's what we should be doing, So don't let anybody tell you what to be doing. You build however you want to build. But I do tend towards assembly line. So you saw that I did, I cut all the panels. I inked all the panels. I, cut all the die cutting. I did all the sentiments. Now I'm going to layer all of the card bases. I just find this to be the easiest way to get the project done and not get stuck on, different steps. Because then at this point, if I had to walk away, I'm pretty much finished here. I just need to adhere the daisy on top and I'm ready to go, so this just makes it easier for me if I have to step away from my project. I know where I'm at and I know what was next. So it's just, it's just something that works for me. But of course, again, you do you, as Tim Holtz would say, So I am going to adhere all of them to their card bases. And I didn't do anything on the inside of these. I have been attempting to do something on the inside of card panels, but I generally, honestly, I forget. I'm really bad for that because I totally forget to do something on the inside. So So I didn't do anything on these ones. But here you can see I'm going to adhere the thank you underneath the stem and the leaf. So it kind of looks like they're just one element. And this just kind of helps them be there, but not steal the show from the background. You know, the background is the main focal of this project. I love them so much. Alcohol inks are one of my favorite mediums. Every time I play with them, they always turn out stunning. And they're one of those things that you just have to be okay with what they do, you know, and if you hate it, fair, you know, you can add some alcohol on top and just wipe away what you've done. It may stain it a little bit, but usually you can work on top of it, no problem. But ideally, you just kind of go with the flow and pick colors you know are going to look pretty together. The exception, of course, was this one because all of them melded a bit. So I did get just like a slightly more muted tone to this card, but I kind of dig it. It's just different. And I'm okay with that. You know, so I then built all of my cards with their sentiment and their flower. And then, of course, I'm going to add some pearls. It's totally not necessary on this card, but I love pearls and I like to add them to everything. So I'm going to add them, but you could skip that step. Like, they're really pretty at this point. I just wanted to add a little bit of bling around the sentiment to kind of help it still keep your eye, even though really the focal's the background. So I did add just 3 little pearls around the sentiment to kind of just help it, you know, be a little bit more eye drawing. And then you can see with that black matte, it also makes it so the sentiment isn't quite as bold as it would have been if it was the only black element on the whole card panel. So just design ideas that come into my head when I'm working, and that's kind of what I go with. But these are the cards I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed them. I hope you'll leave me a like, leave me a comment, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. I'm hoping to hit 25,000 by the end of the year. I don't know if that's crazy ambitious, but that is my hope. And yeah, make sure that you come back and check out my other videos. I always have tons of stuff going on the channel. You know, I have live streams every other Thursday. I think the next one is April 3rd, and I will be making a birthday card in that one, I believe. I'm pretty sure that's what I'm making. I'll be honest. Sometimes it changes as we get a little closer. You know, and I have vlogs back up on the channel. I have a watercolor series that I'm working through because I'm learning watercolor, and I'm kind of sharing that with you guys as I go. And yeah, so please come back and hang out if you enjoy my content and you want to, you know, see what I'm up to. Thank you guys again so much. And thank you so much to my members. I greatly appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for everything you do. And I will see you guys again very soon. Bye-bye for now.